Hi everyone, and welcome to another exclusive podcast with myself and Dougie Critchley. Dougie's a football presenter for Football Daily and appears on Sky Sports. First of all, thanks for joining, mate, at short notice.
Absolute pleasure, Tom. It's all going on in the Liverpool world, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, last night it looked like it was the end of the world in terms of FSG and stuff like that. So this has sort of gathered momentum as the week's gone on, let's say, and it's, in my opinion, it's come from nowhere. So the news is obviously today is Szoboszlai. I'm going to try and pronounce it correct. He's close to joining Liverpool. Where's this come from?
I think it's come from the fact that he had this release clause, which was only effective before the 1st of July. And as we record this, it's the 30th of June. They had to make contact with RB Leipzig to get that €70 million release clause in play. If they didn't before the 1st of July, then it was going to go up in January and next summer. So it was a real opportunity for Liverpool to sign a player that has kind of taken the Bundesliga by storm since arriving there. He arrived in January 2021. Unfortunately, he couldn't actually play the end of that season due to a long-term injury, which he had at his previous club, RB Salzburg. But it's quite an indication of the quality of the player that they were still prepared to put €20 million on him at that time. And since getting fully fit at the start of last season, he's been pretty excellent for RB Leipzig. He's got 20 goals and 20 assists in 91 games, coming off a serious injury for a side that has been a little bit hot and cold at various times. They had a period under Dominik Szoboszlai where they were really struggling. Now they're under Marco Rose and won the DFB Pokal for a second consecutive year last year. So he's been a key part of a successful side in Leipzig. And I think Liverpool will be looking at a very high potential player and be hoping that he can seamlessly adapt to the Premier League.
Yeah, so he's 6'1". He's quick. He's got an eye for a pass and he can finish. And he seems to be a bit of a special free kick penalty specialist. It seems to be a lot of qualities that obviously anyone would look for in a midfielder. So are you surprised it's just Liverpool in the race? I see Newcastle have pulled out, but are you surprised no one else is there?
I was slightly, to be honest. I mean, on one of our shows on Football Daily called Sunday Vibes, we had How to Fix Chelsea a few months ago, and I said that he'd be the perfect replacement for someone like Mason Mount at Chelsea, also with João Felix leaving Chelsea and not being signed permanently. He felt like a good fit there. Newcastle, again, as they were looking to increase the attacking quality in that midfield and replace some of the sort of pure legs that they've got in that zone. He felt like a good fit there. Maybe they thought that this fee was a little bit inflated, but I actually think it could turn out to be a little bit of a bargain given everything we've seen in the Bundesliga. Look, he is maybe not a natural fit for a 4-3-3, but Klopp's new formation, which sees Trent push into midfield and form more of a 3 and then a box and then a 3 up front, I think could be really, really effective if it allows Szoboszlai and Alexis McAllister to push forward slightly, link up with Gakpo and allow Luis Diaz and Mo Salah to really invert and cut in and cause carnage. So I think with the right protection behind him, he could be a really good addition. As you say, an excellent technician. He's an amazing ball striker. He's super creative as well. And I think he should make a massive difference. The only thing for me is it's quite a departure from the sort of midfielders that Klopp has targeted in the past. This is a much more of a number 10. So, there's a potential that he could be used further forward, maybe perhaps in a false 9 role as well. But I think we're initially going to see him on the right side of midfield. And the fact he can play comfortably on the wing as well means that it could give Mo Salah a rest for the first time ever in his Liverpool career. So, I think there's a versatile player in here with massive high potential.
This is the first time in a long time I've been excited about a transfer. Now, no disrespect to Alexis McAllister, because what he's achieved and the qualities he's going to bring is going to be second to none. It's brilliant to have him in. But this is just an exciting signing for me. It's something we didn't really expect. It's someone I didn't really expect to see in a Liverpool shirt. He fits the bill. He's exciting. He's young. He's got goals and assists under his belt. He's versatile, like you say. I'm just so surprised that no one else has come in. And until it's done, I'm not going to jinx it. I'm not going to do anything like that. But yeah, we've got the number 8 spare at Liverpool, which is a big number. Do you think he'll follow suit?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be links with Steven Gerrard, at least in his attacking game. He's probably not nearly as well-rounded as Gerrard. Gerrard's obviously a hero. I don't even mean to heap too much pressure on him for now, but he definitely has some of those long-range hero moments in him. We've seen that for RB Leipzig over a number of years. As you say, he's an excellent free kick taker, brilliant over a dead ball from wide as well. And it'd be great to see him and Trent potentially sharing duties on that front as well. Surprisingly quick as well, can travel, in open spaces. He's probably not, the best in terms of, dribbling through tight spaces. When I was last on this podcast, we were talking about Khéphren Thuram, slightly better in those tight spaces, maybe a little bit cuter as a player. But Szoboszlai, in terms of his creativity, in terms of his goal scoring, is in just a completely different bracket to Khéphren Thuram. Now, it's going to be interesting whether you sign another midfielder, because you're still, people will be like, oh, Liverpool are going crazy, but you've lost Milner, you've lost Naby Keita, you've lost Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So at the moment, you're 2 in, 3 down. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Khéphren Thuram coming in as well. But then you also hear the rumours that you're looking at a left-sided centre-back. If you continue to persist with this new formation, maybe Andy Robertson isn't strong enough in this, in a sort of defensive sense to cover for Trent going into midfield. But that's something that Klopp's going to definitely have to think about. But I think for now, this is a player that has scored and assisted 14 league goals in each of the last 2 seasons. He's been operating about 0.5 expected goals and assists per 90, which means that every 2 games you could expect a goal or an assist from him, which is really promising and not something we've seen from Liverpool's midfield under Klopp at any point. As good a player as someone like Gini Wijnaldum was, he never had particularly big goals and assist numbers. I mean, really, since Steven Gerrard's heyday and Philippe Coutinho, you haven't really had that many goals and assists from midfield. So this is a big departure in transfer strategy, but I think one that Liverpool fans can be really excited for.
I think that's what it is, and I think that's where the excitement comes from as well, because with our midfield's been, don't get me wrong, it's been the engine of our team for the last so many years until recently, where you've seen we've actually struggled. We haven't scored enough goals from midfield, and I think we always rely on the likes of Mo Salah or Mane in the past, Gakpo now, Jota. We never actually rely on a midfielder to say, do you know what, I'm going to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and I'm going to smash one in from 30 yards. And looking at his highlight reels, which we all do when we see a signing, he can bang one in from anywhere by the looks of things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really the strong point of his game is his long-range shooting. But he's not just, taking spamming shots in from everywhere. He's very comfortable in and around the box, holding on to possession, playing cute through balls in. I think Mo Salah has the potential to really enjoy playing in front of him if he does, fit into this formation as I expect him to. He's linked up really well with Christopher Nkunku in the past, who's got a lot of similar qualities to Luis Diaz in terms of his ability to dribble with the ball, run in behind. So there are elements here that are really, really exciting. The issue is, as with any signing at any club, you can't be 100% sure. You can imagine how he's going to fit into this team. You can imagine how he's going to fit into a dressing room, into a new country. But there's absolutely no guarantee with any football transfer. And we've seen that over the years with those £100 million plus signings. Very few of them have worked out. Szoboszlai, obviously, a lot cheaper, but he's fairly young. Very young, 22 years old. And he's come off 2 exceptional seasons in the Bundesliga, but there's no guarantee. All I'm saying is maybe I should temper a little bit of expectations, having linked him to Steven Gerrard earlier. But I think I'm surprised that not more clubs were in for him. I think this is a real good pickup, and it's another Premier League club taking advantage of not much money on the continent, because I think some big clubs around Europe would be looking at him. He could have been a potential Dortmund player in the future to replace Jude Bellingham. I'm sure Real Madrid, if they hadn't have signed Jude Bellingham, would potentially be looking at him as well. He's that sort of calibre of player. So I think this is a bit of a coup for Liverpool, and I'm excited to see how he goes.
Yeah, I had a quick chat with Kevin Hatchard, who you'll know. And he's a Liverpool supporter, but he's really surprised that he's coming to a Liverpool side. Is that because of what you said earlier? It's a totally different type of midfielder that we usually go for.
Yeah, I think it's just a departure from the sort of workman-like, massive energy player. I mean, Szoboszlai doesn't shirk his defensive duties. Is around 2 tackles and interceptions per 90. For an exceptional defensive midfielder, you're looking at 4 and above. For a number 8, you'd probably look at 3. So he's not a massive, defensive monster. But at the same time, he's been schooled in an RB Salzburg and RB Leipzig side that are very high press. He's not a passenger defensively by any means. And that fits in with Klopp's mentality of, going to the end, never giving up on anything. And I think he could be a nice addition to that midfield. The issue is Alexis McAllister, Fabinho. You kind of need Fabinho to return to the previous best that we've seen. I thought there were signs towards the back end of the season that he was getting back to it when he had a little bit more security in midfield with Trent coming in. But it's still a big ask for him to be the sole sort of defensive midfielder in this side. Alexis McAllister can chip in as well. But I'm just mainly excited to see what Szoboszlai can do going forward. I think he has the potential to hit the ground running in the Premier League and end up with close to 10 goals and assists in his first season, which I think would be really promising, and hopefully push on to 15 in the years to come.
Definitely. So the fee, obviously, the release clause is 70 million euros, which is around 60 million pounds. Do we expect Liverpool to meet this release clause, or do we expect to, let's say, construct a figure of instalments, as Liverpool tend to do?
Oh, I mean, I'd need to know more about his release clause terms. I imagine it's the majority up front, if not all of it up front. So I think it will be around £60 million that they have to pay up front, which is a lot of money. You know, you've rarely really gone above that. Alisson, Van Dijk and Núñez are the only ones that spring to mind. Two of the three have proved exceptional signings. Núñez, I think, still has a lot to prove, to be honest. But Szoboszlai feels more settled and more instantly ready to hit the ground running in the Premier League than Darwin Núñez for me, just because of his experience in a league like the Bundesliga. He's got Champions League experience as well. Darwin Núñez, you know, not long before his Benfica season was playing for Almeria in the Segunda Division in Spain. So I think there's a different caliber of player and a different experience level of player arriving. And I actually back him to really hit the ground running.
Excellent. Okay, that's everything. Let's call it a pod there. Dougie, thanks very much again for coming on a short notice, and I'm sure people want to hear more of you. So where can we find you?
Yeah, well, go check out Football Daily. I'm on, there regularly, one of their sort of main presenters there. Also, if you enjoy my opinions, etc., go check me out on Twitter. That's where I'm most active, at Dougie Critchley. You can also check out my Instagram page and TikTok should you choose to. But yeah, thanks very much for having me on, Dom.
You're welcome. And I'll try and say Dougie next time instead of Dougie.
It's
just
all
a
good.
Scouse thing.
Either goes.
Right. Catch you soon, mate. Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks to everyone for listening in to today's podcast, and thank you to our amazing guests. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. Don't forget to follow us on social media, twitter.com/The Road End Pod, and on Instagram, Instagram/The Road End Pod.